Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for attending the April 10th Bernalillo County Administrative Meeting. We will call this meeting to order right now at approximately 5:10. Tonight, we're going to have a silent invocation and a pledge of allegiance, and tonight's silent invocation will be dedicated to two county employees who, unfortunately, in the very same month, passed away last month. That is Mr. Frank Manning and Miss Kimberly Pound from our IT department. So we'll recognize a moment of silence for both of them, and then the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Miss Shirley Reagan. Thank you, Ms. Reagan. Ms. County Manager, any additions or deletions, changes to the current agenda, please?
Mr. Vice Chair, Commissioners, I only have one, and that is item 3A, Bernie birthday acknowledgement, to be added to the agenda under proclamations as item 4G, as in girl. And a vote is required for item 3A to be incorporated into the agenda. Thank
you, Madam Chair. We have can I get a motion to?
I move we add 3A to tonight's agenda.
Thank you. Second? Second. Thank you very much. Commissioner Hart-Stebbins first. Commissioner Smith second. All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Bernie moved to item 4G. Thank you so much. We will start then with proclamations.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
Just for the record, Commissioner O'Malley will have an informal acknowledgement or recognition. It'll be heard as item 4H.
4H, okay.
And that can be recorded under her personal privilege to make that announcement.
Perfect. Thank you, Julianne, and thank you, Commissioner O'Malley. We got a lot of acknowledgements tonight. This will be great. So our first is for National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week presentation, and I'm the sponsor of this one, so I will read this. Thank you to our telecommunications staff coming up right now. So this is an acknowledgement. The Bernalillo County Board of County Commissioners hereby acknowledges National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, April 8th through 14th, 2018. So we're currently in that right now. Emergencies can occur at any time that require law enforcement, fire, or emergency medical services. And when an emergency occurs, its prompt response is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. The safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Bernalillo County Emergency Communications Department. Public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services and are the single vital link for our law enforcement officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. Public safety telecommunicators of the Bernalillo County Emergency Communications Department have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients, and each dispatcher, has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. The Board of County Commissioners wishes to acknowledge April 8th to 14th, 2018 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week and recognize that our health, safety, and well-being often depends upon the commitment and steadfast dedication of our public safety telecommunicators. We have with us the director of our telecommunicators department, as well as a few of his associates and his Deputy County Manager, Perez. Lee.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, thank you. Who I have Lee Thompson, Emergency Communications Director. Who I have with me tonight is Keith Carnes, Emergency Communications Operator 1. Carly Huffman, our training coordinator, and always supporting me, our DCM, Chief Greg Perez. So we're here again for another year, and if you remember last year, I read a quick thing about Keith Carnes. I couldn't bring Keith Carnes with me last year because he was working. Well, he's working again this year, but he's here. I bring him anyways. So some people are just going to have to take up the slack at emergency communications for a little bit until I can get him back. But I want, and the reason I have Keith here tonight is because, and I'll read this letter, just bits and pieces out of it, because as they say, Keith did it again. He did another great job. And this letter comes from Matthew and Allison Hagerman, and it reads, Matthew experienced sudden cardiac arrest shortly after 9 p.m. on Christmas 2017. This took us by surprise, given Matthew at a young age and never exhibited any such symptoms. I was sitting on the couch with Matthew when he suddenly lost consciousness and started turning blue. While at this moment, I didn't know what to do, so I called 911. And I just want to recognize the leadership of Mr. Keith Carnes, who was on the other end of the line. Mr. Carnes informed me I needed to conduct CPR, and I did not know how to do it. I was emotional, but he gave me the confidence to do it in this extreme situation. I needed to take action immediately, he said, and he helped me do the CPR, and gave me instructions on how to do the CPR. With his leadership and confidence, I was able to stay calm in order to help Matthew. And as a result, today, Matthew is still alive. So again, Keith, great job again. So. And Mr. Vice Chair, again, I would like to thank you for reading our proclamation, and to all the members of the commission and all the support from the leadership in the county. We thank you. We have tough jobs, but my people are tough and they're up for the task. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Thompson. We'll take a quick picture up here with the commission, if you wouldn't mind joining us for a second. I also, for the record, forgot to state that Commissioner Casada is excused for tonight's meeting. Thank you, Julianne. The second proclamation tonight is also one that I'll read, which is for National Work Zone Awareness Week. And we've got a couple of gentlemen to join us for this. The Bernalillo County Board of Commissioners, sponsored by Commissioner Stephen Michael Casada, Lonnie C. Talbert, Debbie O'Malley, Maggie Hart-Stebbins, and James E. Smith. Whereas National Work Zone Awareness Week is an annual spring campaign held at the start of construction season to raise public awareness for street, road, and highway work zones and those who work in them, and whereas, according to the Federal Highway Administration, each year there are around 96,000 crashes in work zones in the United States, and on average, a work zone crash occurs once every 5.4 minutes. And whereas National Work Zone Awareness Week is created in partnership with multiple organizations such as the United States Department of Transportation, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and others to continually raise awareness of work zone safety. And whereas the theme for the 2018 National Work Zone Awareness Week from April 9th through 13th, 2018 is Work Zone Safety, Everybody's Responsibility. And whereas the Bernalillo County Public Works Department strives to keep employees and the public safe during street, road, and highway repairs in work zones. And whereas motorists are encouraged to slow down to posted speed limits, eliminate distractions while driving, and be watchful for roadway workers, their equipment, and vehicles on the side of the road in work zones. Now therefore be it resolved that the Bernalillo County Board of Commissioners hereby recognizes the week of April 9th, 2018 as National Work Zone Awareness Week and encourages Bernalillo County residents to keep employees, motorists, and their families safe around work zones and on our roadways as our collective responsibility. Done this 10th day of April 2018 in Bernalillo County, State of New Mexico Board of County Commissioners, Stephen Michael Casada, Chair, Lonnie C. Talbert, Vice Chair, Debbie O'Malley, Member, Maggie Hart Stebbins, Member, James E. Smith, Member. Gentlemen, thank you very much. If you'd like to say a few words on behalf.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, all commissioners. We would just like to point out that this is not, my name is George Thompson, President of the New Mexico ATSA chapter. We also would like to thank you guys for recognizing this. This isn't only for the workers, it's for the motoring public, pedestrians, and the workers. It needs to bring more awareness, slowing down traffic. There's way too many deaths that happen in work zones. Once again, I'll keep it short. I'd like to say thank you for all the contributors, Safety SOC, Albuquerque, City of Albuquerque, NMDOT for participating in this. Thank you.
Patrick?
Just also like to reiterate what George said and thank the Commission for your recognition of the National Work Zone Safety Week. Patrick Delgado with Safety SOC. And we just want to thank you once again for your recognition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Quick picture, thank you. We now are at Proclamation 4C, Child Abuse Prevention Month. Presentation of proclamation, sponsor Commissioner O'Malley. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation, and if Anne Maria Garcia, and there's some folks with you, want to come up. There's quite a few folks. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of people who are concerned with this, so I'm really pleased to see so many. Whereas all children deserve to grow up in a safe, stable, and caring environment with the support and services they need to thrive and succeed in life. And whereas research shows that child abuse and neglect change a child's brain architecture and that the effects of child abuse and neglect can last a lifetime. And whereas effective prevention programs succeed because of partnerships among schools, faith-based organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. And whereas last year in New Mexico there were over 9,000 500 substantiated cases of child abuse and neglect, with over 2,700 of those cases occurring in Bernalillo County. And whereas child abuse and neglect are 100% preventable, and every April, communities across the United States come together to raise awareness and education around child abuse prevention. And whereas in Bernalillo County, prenatal to early childhood programs such as home visiting are truly making a difference in the lives of vulnerable children and families, offering parenting, caregiver support, early child development screenings, in-home visitations, and referrals to additional resources. Now therefore be it resolved that the Bernalillo County Board of Commissioners hereby recognizes April 2018 as Child Abuse Prevention Month and calls upon all citizens to increase their participation and support of the community's efforts to keep children safe, happy, and healthy. Done this 10th day of April, Bernalillo County, State of New Mexico, Board of Commissioners, Stephen Michael Sadek's Chair, Lonnie C. Talbot Vice Chair, myself, Maggie Hart Stebbins, Chair, and James E. Smith, member, and James E. Smith, member as well. Thank you so much, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, commissioners and members of the public, and I want to thank all of the direct service providers, the home visitors that have joined us this evening, as well as other professionals that support child abuse prevention and early childhood programs. My name is Anna Marie Garcia, and I currently work at the UNM Center for Development and Disability, but I am here representing the Bernalillo County Home Visitation Work Group. I've worked in early childhood for over 23 years, and I've been with the work group since its start. And I want to just make a couple of points. When it comes to child abuse and neglect, nobody can address prevention in isolation. Collaboration is prevention. From the direct service providers that we have here, to the early childhood professionals that support them, to the city, county, state, and federal entities that fund them, as well as the private funders that support early childhood initiatives such as home visiting. In closing, I just want to thank the County Commission for being creative and figuring out the way to fund the prevention of ACEs program now that we have in the community. I have seen firsthand, with a program receiving both home visiting and prevention of ACEs funding that I provide consultation to, the impact to the families that they serve. Families receiving services from this program have the support needed to overcome adversity, and the direct service providers have the resources needed at their fingertips to support these families. This is a two-way collaboration, and I know that it will have long-lasting impact in the Southeast Heights community and the children in those families that are served. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for what you do. It's very difficult, I know, to deal with children who are abused and neglected. And I want to thank, sometimes parents who are loving and caring, and I was fortunate to be raised by parents like that. I know sometimes it's difficult and people lose their patience and things like that, but ultimately it's the most important job that we have, is to raise our families.
Yes, and thanks to the work that these home visitors do with families, they provide them with the skills to become those productive and successful parents. And so I give them all of the credit for the hard work that is done in home visiting, because all parents have that capacity. They just need support, and they need these professionals to help them, guide them, and to give them that support.
Did anyone else want to speak? Or okay.
Good evening. My name is Janice Montoya, and I'm a nurse home visitor with Nurse Family Partnership. Nurse Family Partnership and Parents as Teachers are both evidence-based home visiting programs provided by the Center for Development and Disability at the University of New Mexico. Nurse Family Partnership is an evidence-based home visiting program for first-time low-income mothers. Nurse Family Partnership focuses on mothers having their first child for two fundamental reasons. First, women going through their first pregnancies have a heightened sense of vulnerability, both physically and socially, That makes them more receptive to offers of help, especially from nurses. Secondly, nurses have essential skills to address issues of concern. We are tenacious caregivers. Nurses bring passion and excellence to our nursing practice and professional services. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, commissioners and members of the public. My name is Rebecca Riley, and I'm the Tribal Home Visiting Director for Native American Professional Parent Resources, a nonprofit based here in Albuquerque. I want to echo everything that my fellow colleagues and families have mentioned today, and just want to emphasize that home visiting really isn't a new concept to New Mexico. As research and evidence-based as it is, we have had communal support services in our communities across New Mexico. We just knew them by another name. We knew them by our brothers and sisters. We knew them by our uncles and aunts, our grandparents, sometimes our great-grandparents. In tribal communities, they were known as medicine men and women, clan members, midwives. And we did these things because they were vital roles to our communities, and because we knew that those things worked. We knew that they were protective factors to protect the things that were known and unknown to our communities, to make sure that we were all safe and our children continued on for more generations to come. So we know it works. We know that it's something that's needed for everyone, not just our small communities, but both our urban and Native American communities that are living here in Albuquerque. So I just want to say thank you to the commissioners for supporting more funding that for programs like ours and all of across New Mexico that are trying to prevent adverse childhood experiences and trying to prevent things like child abuse that we don't want to continue on for future generations. So thank you very much, and NAPR is very pleased that you are continuing to be a vital role in our community today. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Manuel Ueda. I'm a parent that was involved with the St. Joseph's Early Childhood Program, home visitation. I have Bobby V that's holding my 4-year-old child over here that was involved in the program. It's probably one of the best decisions I ever made. I have never been involved with children. These guys really gave me all the tools and resources to become a great parent that I feel that I am, and I have confidence to be able to say that I am. I know that tonight's all about, at least a portion of it is about the acknowledgement of the child abuse that's going on and how we would like to curb that. And I think it's programs like this is something that can aid in something like that. It's a really positive program. I always like to be myself involved in these kind of community initiatives. I'm a former Eagle Scout, so I've done a lot of community service, and I've lived around this area for a long time, and I've seen with the things that we can do as a community to create something. And I would like to see a lot more involvement with these childhood programs, whether it's Head Start or home visitation programs, because I think they're very beneficial. I myself am currently a stay-at-home father, and I started with my son 4 years ago, not knowing anything about children and how to take care of them. And so me diving right into becoming a stay-at-home father, him solely dependent on me to make sure that his welfare was taken care of. It was nice to have resources. Now it was made me a competent parent, a loving parent, understanding parent. I understand a lot of people have frustrations, whether it's stress at work or financial, or maybe they just have baggage when they maybe had a bad childhood. So ultimately, I think if they had a community and resources that back you, such as St. Joseph's the visitation program, I think we'd be us as parents would be in a lot better position to give our kids a bright future, and that's what it comes down to. I feel they've done everything from teach me how my children think so I can understand and not become frustrated and try to use my adult point of view on them when they, they view the world so much differently. I have, I feel that discipline that's great at home, and I feel as long as I take their tools that they taught me, which was on a weekly basis, each week they'd come and they'd give me a little goal or something to teach them motor skills, or whether it was discipline or learning how to on the speech. I believe all these things gave me a purpose each week. I didn't want to just become a caregiver, take care until mother came home and hand them over and say, here you go. I kept them alive for these last 8 hours. No, it came down to I want to be able to show, look, this is what he did today. We did it together. Not only is he, in a much better place and he's smarter, I am as well. I can feel confident. And that allows me to be a good parent, and also maybe to shed some light on other parents out there that, could use some of what I've learned. Maybe unfortunately, you're not in this program. I mean, it's unfortunate that not everyone can take the advantage of this program. I look forward to when we can do that, but I will provide my free advice and free services while I'm out there on the playgrounds. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your story. I think it would make a lot of difference to a lot of people who hear your story. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, thank you for having us here this evening. My name is Dr. Jeanette Baca. I'm the Director of Mental Health for YDI Head Start. And as the home visiting program has shown, YDI provides services for 90% of our families who are low income, and we have over 1,000 kids in our program. These are the type of programs we're talking about to support our families. It's really fun to play with kids. I get to do that every morning and go into classroom, and it's fun until it's not fun. Until I learned that one of my parents beat up their child so badly that they're not in school today. And I agree with Commissioner O'Malley. This is not a bad parent. This is a parent who has no skills. This is a parent who went too far. So what I'm asking the commission to do, and again, I want to thank you, want to ensure that we must do more than simply respond to cases of abuse through prosecution and intervention. We need to provide programs and policies that focus on the child development process, ensure that all our young children are screened. I'm particularly interested in social emotional screening for all our children. We've got over 1,000 children right now that I checked my data, and we've screened these children. And if the results necessitate, then we provide early intervention services. And I think that model works effectively, but we need a lot more early intervention programs, a lot more home visiting programs, and a lot more Head Start programs. Yeah, go Head Start. So we need to provide programs and policies that focus on the child development process. We need to engage communities and create conditions that allow parents to be the kind of parents they want to be, such as our father over here. These programs and policies include strategies such as home visiting, parent education, mutual self-help support, mental health services, and substance abuse treatment. It's time that we stop demonizing these parents and provide support for them. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Is that the end of the speakers? I'd appreciate it if, I don't know how we can all do this, but if you could come around, and I'd love to shake your hands and thank you, and then maybe take a giant photograph.
Thank you very much, Commissioner O'Malley. Next, item 4D, Back Day, Presentation Proclamation, Commissioner Hart-Stebbins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Bernalillo County government has been very focused for several years on the opioid crisis that has really come to the forefront of public attention. I think we have been focused on it maybe longer than others because we have a historic problem here in both in New Mexico and Bernalillo County. For a long time, we were number 1 or 2 in overdose deaths, and I think because of some very aggressive action on the part of the state and other partners here in Bernalillo County, we're no longer number 1 or number 2. We're maybe number 13 or 14. Not so much because our death rate is going down, which it is a little bit, but because other communities are seeing just these staggering increases. So I think we have always sought out evidence-based interventions that try and help keep some of our residents from developing opioid use disorders or providing appropriate treatment when needed. And one of these evidence-based programs is National Take Back Day. We've had a great partner with the with the Drug Enforcement Agency here in New Mexico, and National Take Back Day is coming up. So we have a proclamation, and we want to do everything we can to notify people about this important event that can help keep unused prescription drugs out of the wrong hands. So this is a proclamation by the Bernalillo County Board of Commissioners. Whereas, out of 6.4 million Americans who abused prescription drugs in 2015, including 4 million individuals who abused painkillers, the majority reported obtaining those drugs from friends and family, often by raiding home medicine cabinets, according to the National Survey on Drug Use and Health released in 2017. And whereas 4 out of 5 new heroin users started with painkillers, which highlights their important role in the opioid epidemic as the bridge between low-level drug abuse and more severe substance use disorders. Whereas over 40,000 people, or 115 people a day, died in the United States in 2016 from overdosing on these prescription painkillers or heroin, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And whereas the Drug Enforcement Agency and 52 local law enforcement partners in New Mexico collected 7,932 pounds of medications at 78 collection sites throughout the state as part of the 14th Drug Take Back Day in October of 2017. This represents a 30% increase over the previous collection day in April of 2017. Overall, in its 14 previous take-back events, the DEA and its nationwide partners have taken in over 8.9 million pounds of pills, more than 440 tons. So now, therefore, be it resolved that the Bernalillo County Board of Commissioners hereby recognizes Saturday, April 28, 2018, as Drug Take-Back Day in Bernalillo County, and encourages everyone to drop off their unused medications between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Interested individuals can find more information, including the location of nearby collection sites, on deatakeback.com. So this proclamation is done this 10th day of April 2018 in Bernalillo County, state of New Mexico, by the Board of Commissioners. And we don't have anybody who is here tonight to receive this, but what I would like to do is just ask the county manager if we can use our information resources, our media resources, to try and publicize this, as it is a really important step in preventing substance abuse. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Hart-Stebbins. Item 4E, County Manager, National County Government Month, Presentation of Acknowledgement.
Mr. Vice Chair, Commissioners, so it's my pleasure to present this acknowledgement. So as part of National County Government Month each year, Bernalillo County seeks to raise community awareness about county programs and services. Bernalillo County takes pride in its responsibility to protect and enhance the health, welfare, and safety of its residents in efficient and cost-effective ways. This year's national theme is Serving the Underserved. The county's behavioral health initiative is an excellent example of the county's ongoing commitment to doing just that. Bernalillo County and our government partners are moving forward with programs and services that bridge the gaps in the current behavioral health care system, watch for a big behavioral health announcement next month. So some other achievements we'll be highlighting this month and throughout the year include the county's award-winning Open Space program, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary in 2018. Celebrate with us by planning to attend special programs at open space properties around the county. We're also celebrating the Bernalillo County Fire Department. The third largest fire department in the state is celebrating 60 years of serving the county's emergency fire and rescue needs. There are more fun facts about the county that we want to share with you. So you're invited to answer weekly BernCo quiz trivia questions available on BernCo.gov and on BernCo Facebook. So last but not least, and a big shout out to all of our employees for their outstanding public service. And we want to thank you, commissioners, because without your support and the resources that you provide us, we couldn't do our jobs and we wouldn't be able to make it the difference that we do. So thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you, obviously, to all the staff that's making up about 90% of our audience tonight, so thank you. Item 4F, Finance Recognition of Information Technology Employees. Deputy County Manager Reagan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to read the Certificate of Recognition, and as a former Cisco networking kind of guy, I'm proud to be able to read this Certificate of Recognition for Nicholas Davis and Larry Munoz, Bernalillo County Information Technology Department, for your immediate response and on-site technical support to the City of Farmington on Wednesday, January 3rd, 2018, when the city was severely impacted by a ransomware attack, causing widespread computer encryption and massive operational disruption. Both of you volunteered to deploy to Farmington and were on site within 24 hours, providing vital support toward the recovery efforts. You helped expedite the recovery of critical computer systems and helped to minimize the negative impact to city operations. Thank you for representing Bernalillo County so well and for your gracious public service, not only to Bernalillo County residents, but also to the residents of San Juan County and the city of Farmington. Presented this day, April 10th, 2018. Stephen Michael Casada, Chair. Lonnie C. Talbert, Vice Chair. Debbie O'Malley, Member. Maggie Hart-Stebbins, Member. And James E. Smith, Member. And Ms. Reagan.
Vice Chair, Commissioners, my name is Shirley Reagan, Deputy County Manager for Finance, and I'm proud to say that I am happy to work beside and along with these individuals and these employees in the Information Technology Department who often work behind the scenes, but they are very vital to the existence and all the operations of the county. So with that, I'm going to introduce Robert Benavides, our CIO, and let him come up and have some words.
Thank you, Shirley. Vice Chair Talbert, Commissioners, I want to introduce Nick Davis, our Deputy CIO, Rod Ralston, our Deputy CIO, Eli Bujaudi. Unfortunately, Larry Munoz couldn't be with us tonight. He's out sick. But I wanted to thank Nick and Larry on behalf of the Commission. Early January, we learned about the impact for the City of Farmington. Within hours, we had approval from the County Manager and from DCM Shirley Reagan to dispatch help to City of Farmington. We reached out to them. Within hours, both Nick and Larry had stepped forward to spend the week up in Farmington away from their family and friends, providing on-site support for the City of Farmington. So they greatly expedited their recovery, returned them back to normal operations within the week, which would not have been possible without their help. So I want to thank them. I want to thank the Commission and also County Manager and Deputy County Manager Shirley for fostering the spirit of collaboration and teamwork that allowed us to support another government agency in their time of need. Hopefully they never need to return that favor, but if they ever do, I hope they do in kind. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. And then finally, item 4G, Bernco Bernie Birthday Acknowledgement. Presentation of acknowledgement, looks like Deputy County Manager.
Vince Murphy, Deputy County Manager for Community Services. I've been asked to read this acknowledgement. Since 2013, Bernco Bernie has been the ambassador or spokesheep of Bernalillo County. She shares all the great things to do and see in Bernalillo County with our residents and visitors. The county is celebrating Bernco Bernie's 5th birthday and National County Government Month. Bernco Bernie helps to educate the community about Bernalillo County's history, current services and programs that the county provides. Bernco Bernie is one of the 8 sheep featured on the county seal. The sheep represent the 8 original land grants that culturally and geographically define present-day Bernalillo County. Bernco Bernie was a concept I have. I'm going to read some quotes in a minute of how some people reacted to Bernco Bernie. But before I do that, let me just say you don't get to implement a concept without some people as crazy as you are. So let me go through the names of the folks on the Bernco Bernie team: Amanda Coburn, Colleen Langan McRoberts, Kathy Lopez, Brenda Cisneros Fernandez, Sherry Gutierrez, Larry Gallegos, Kerry Moritomo, Bernadette Miera, Debbie Jo Almaga, Andre Dixon, Cheyenne Gutierrez, Megan Ellsworth, Dennis Duran, Maria Salazar, Annalisa Montoya Torres, Tracy Dingman, Wendy Swingendorf, and Melanie Elicio. And they deserve a round of applause for being creative. So here are 2 quotes that I fondly remember early in the creation of Bernco Bernie. One seated commissioner said, "Who was the nut who came up with the metal sheep?" Commissioner O'Malley, 2013.
I'm going to have to qualify that. I don't think I said that. I don't think I said nut.
No, you said
but
something else.
I bet, well,
But this is a public
excuse me, Mr. Chair, I should have called on deputies to speak. But, so you showed me a cutout of a sheep with a big old seal on it, and I thought, now that's going to make a really good target. And you thought you were going to put it out in the parks, and I thought that thing's going to get all shot up. And so I was not a big fan. But I did not, I don't think, and I did, I had some criticism about it. But hey, I've been won over, especially by that little squeezy sheep there.
One other quote by a seated deputy county manager was, "That metal sheep looks like a camel." Lisa Cedillo White. So Bernie's done a lot. Really, the idea of Bernie was to lead campaigns around against vandalism. In 2013, we spent over $300,000 on fixing things broken by vandalism. So Bernco Bernie is out in a lot of our parks, asks people to call if they see vandalism going on. Bernco Bernie has the 3rd book you'll all receive, has a series of books dealing with visiting our open spaces, visiting with, in all of the 5 districts of Bernalillo County. We were not going to put this up. A former commissioner's assistant gave that to me, and for some reason it resurrected today. So there you go. Okay, we can take that down now. So let me just say that our 4th annual Sheep Days is the 2nd weekend in August. This is focused on kiddos and introducing them to, it's great watching mutton busting, and it's a great full-day activity around the rural aspect of Bernalillo County. And Mike and Laura Chavez are very active in that program and really taking care of that wonderful facility. I think now it's time to sing happy birthday for Bernco Bernie. So on the start of 3, 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bernie. Happy birthday to you. And now we burn out the candle. There you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vince. Nice job, everyone. Looks like you're handing out cake, too.
Yeah.
Bernco Bernie says, let them eat cake. Give them cake. Cake. Thank you all very much. We're now going to move to the public comment and communications part of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman,
yes, please.
Point of personal privilege, Commissioner O'Malley has an item.
I thought that was the Bernco. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
I thought
Commissioner
you
O'Malley.
thought it was Bernco?
Lost track again.
This acknowledgement doesn't have a recipient. It's just to read into the record, and we heard this kind of late. So Bernalillo County Board of Commissioners acknowledges, no thank you, acknowledges that April 8th to 14th is National Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week. Bernalillo County Animal Care Services Department personnel provide the essential community functions of enforcing animal control laws, protecting the public from diseases such as rabies, and educating the public on the proper care of the community's pets. Animal Care Services Director Misha Goodman will be acknowledging officers throughout the week in various ways to thank them for their outstanding work for the community and its animals. The county is also anticipating the completion of the new Bernalillo County Animal Care and Resource Center, which will be opening in the summer of 2018. Everyone's encouraged to show their appreciation and support for the work the Bernalillo County Care Animal Services Department does in this community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Malley.
So, Vice Chair and Commissioners, we do, on behalf of all of the animal care officers and staff and Misha Goodman, we thank you for recognizing them this evening. Commissioner O'Malley, thank you for sponsoring this such short notice. And we encourage everybody to get out to the new facility, drive by it, take a look at it. We've got air conditioners on top, we've got windows in, we've got sheetrock inside, so it's getting extremely exciting to watch that building go up as quickly as it is. And we thank all of you for your support. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Greg.
We have nobody signed up for public comment this evening.
Wow, that is a first in my 6 years. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, even Commissioner O'Malley saying first in her 20 years. Daggone. Man, that's all right. Any employees want to talk or anything? I mean, we've got a few minutes. 90% of you in the audience anyway, so you can come on up and give us your opinion, but it's all good. So, glad we can laugh about this stuff. Number 8, approval of minutes. Minutes of the March 27, 2018 administrative. Can I move the minutes? We have a motion and a second. Thank you, Commissioner O'Malley and Commissioner Smith. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, no opposition. Minutes approved. Thank you so much. We now have approval of the consent agenda. I move to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, from Commissioner O'Malley and Commissioner Smith. Madam Clerk, may I please have a resolution number for items 9D and 9J?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. 9D is AR 2018-22.
22.
And J is FR 2018-23.
Thank you very much. Those are read into the record. Adoption of ordinance amendment to county code, nothing at this point. So now we are on to item 11, adoption of resolution number, or letter A, budget, Bernalillo County FY19 and FY20 biennial budget. Madam Clerk, may I have the 4 resolution numbers necessary, please?
Yes, sir. Number 1 is FR 2018-24. Number 2 is FR 2018-25.
Yes, ma'am.
Number 4 is FR 2018-26. And number 5 is 2018-27.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Hey, Pam.
Good evening, Vice Chairman Talbert and Commissioners. I'm Pamela Moon, Director of Accounting and Budget. This agenda item presents the fiscal year 19 and fiscal year 20 biennial budget. And before I go into the motions, I would like to thank the Budget Office for their many months of work on the budget. I'd also like to thank the county manager, the deputy county managers, the elected officials, and the departments for their assistance and support throughout the process. Through this process, they prioritized, they reviewed trade-offs and their budgets and really worked with us to try to get this to you. So we've gone through numerous meetings, but I really would like to thank you, Bernalillo County Board of Commissioners, for your guidance. We've held briefing sessions with you, and we held the public hearing on April 3rd. So tonight, we asked the Bernalillo County Commission to approve the budget. We have 7 motions that we're requesting you approve, and we can go through them one by one, or I can just summarize them all and you can approve them together. It's your choice.
Summarize? We good with that, Kenny? Okay, summarization would be great. Thanks,
I'll just go quickly summarize. The first 2 motions appropriate the general fund and the non-general fund fiscal year 19 budgets in the amount of $294.7 million and $188.7 million respectively for the general fund, non-general fund. I'd want to point out that our budget is in balance, and we should be able to sustain this budget, something that we are very proud of. Our reserves are intact, and we will be able to meet our DFA 25% reserve and our 5% stabilization requirement. The third motion approves 7 new full-time regular positions, 5 in the Public Works Division and 2 at the MDC. Of the 7 new positions, 5 are in the general fund and 2 are in the solid waste fund. Motion 4 requests a carry forward of the multi-year projects in the amount of $180 million. And with this number, we true up the number to the actual carry forward numbers when we do our September adjustments. Motion 5 supports the grants and projects listed in Attachment C, funded by various federal and state sources. Motion 6 authorizes the county manager to execute agency contracts and cooperative agreements on behalf of Bernalillo County as detailed in the contract listing, Attachment D, and authorizes the county manager or her designee to amend contract prices in accordance with AR 2012-17 and AR 2017-41. And the last motion authorizes the county manager to seek reimbursement to the general fund for any project or initiative funded by the general fund that subsequently receives funding in whole or in part from alternative funding sources. I stand for any questions.
Thanks. Thank you, Pam. Any questions, commissioners? Anyone? Okay. No, so we have a summary motion of items 1 through 7 for the budget for the FY 19 and 20. Is there a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second? Second from Commissioner Smith. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. I also, thank you very much, Pam. I also would like to thank Jennifer Gallegos and her budget staff, along with Deputy County Manager Reagan and everyone. The team does an amazing job every year putting together, you can imagine a roughly $94 million general fund budget, $400 million plus total budget. It takes a lot of work with all the departments, and it's an incredible task. Not to mention 5 crazy commissioners who probably have a lot of thoughts around that too. So thank you so much. Appreciate that. Excuse me. On to now item 11B, a public hearing to consider adoption of an administrative resolution banning the use of open fires. Madam Clerk, may I have a resolution number, please?
Yes, sir. AR 2018-22.
Thank you so much.
Oops, wait a minute. No.
Oh,
28. Sorry.
28. Okay. Thank you.
Didn't turn my page.
Thank you so much. Deputy County Manager Perez, Chief.
All right, Vice Chair and Commissioners. So tonight it's my pleasure to actually introduce Keith Clark, who is our new Fire Marshal. He was hired in November and took place for Chief Gober. So this is the first action of Chief Clark in the capacity of Fire Marshal. As you know, conditions are extremely dry out there, and we're we're definitely concerned from the fire department standpoint for public safety as it relates to the possibility of large outside fires. So Chief Clark will present this to you and share a little bit about what we're looking at and what we're doing as a fire department in preparation for what we anticipate to be a very, very busy summer. Chief Clark.
Mr. Chairman, for the record, there is nobody signed up for public hearing on this item.
Man, 2 for 2. Okay, great. Thank you.
Vice Chair, Commissioners, thank you. As Interim Chief Bettis states, we've been watching the weather throughout the spring and even the winter, as we all know, has been very dry. And it continues to be dry. All the forecasts are showing that the drought's going to continue. We're currently in a severe drought, and everybody says very soon we'll be in an extreme drought. We're not looking for any precipitation. The outlook doesn't look any favorable or disfavorable, but we do know that there's been a lot of dry fuels out there. As you all know, we just had a fire in the East Mountains over the weekend. And it's any wildland fire takes a lot of resources to stop. We were very fortunate that we had a strong response in a hurry, which did help us in stopping that fire. So as we're out, prevention is our greatest asset, and by imposing this burn ban through the unincorporated areas of Bernalillo County, we feel that prevention will help save Bernalillo County and possibly some residents and their property.
Well, thank you very much for your insight and input, and congratulations on your new role.
Thank you.
It's awesome to see, and it's unfortunate. I mean, we watch this weather patterns in New Mexico. 1 year it's, oh, we're fine. For 3 years we're in droughts. We're back there. So it looks like there's a motion to declare at this point an extreme severe drought condition exists pursuant to evidence presented at the hearing. Thank you, Fire Marshal, as well. Second. All right. And then approve the administrative resolution AR 2018-28, banning the use of open fires, campfires, and smoking in the unincorporated areas. All in favor? Second?
No, I had a question.
Mr. Smith. Oh, please. Commissioner Smith.
Commissioner
Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Mr. Pettis and Mr. Clark. I just want to thank both of you for the quick response in David Canyon this weekend. I think you maintained it to about a 15-acre event, which was fantastic. I know the people down there were very appreciative as well. I visited the site. I do have a question, though, real quickly. When you say, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of new to the ban on open fires, does that include charcoal grills, that sort of thing?
Vice Chair, Commissioner, the ban would be for any open burning. So anything with a UL listed type appliance with propane gas would be allowed. So a charcoal grill would not be allowed, because that's something that we couldn't put out the fire immediately. Yeah. With a propane grill, you can turn off the valve and it's off. And as long as within a UL listed appliance, it's something that it's been deemed safe by the Underwriters Laboratory that tested it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That was my wife asking that question. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. And we have a second already from Commissioner Art Stebbins. Any other further discussion? Okay, thank you. All in favor say aye. Aye. None opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion carries. AR carries. Appreciate it. Approval of discussion. We have a discussion now. It is discuss the process for filling vacancy for Representative District 22, which is now Commissioner Smith has joined us. We now have an opening in his district. So I know we've gone through this a few different times in terms of soliciting nominations for the vacancy. So Kenny, any thoughts and comments around that in terms of just applications, accept, time frame? What are you thinking?
He's a very difficult man to replace. I think we did it before. I don't know if there's any exigent circumstances for us getting it quick. Obviously, doing it sooner rather than later is the best, since it's you have several counties, right? So it's a multi-county district. In the prior opportunities, we posted an opportunity for folks to send letters of interest, and then brought it to you, and then you guys would decide upon it. The other counties will do the same process. They may all have their own process on it, and then ultimately it will go to the governor's office.
Excellent, thank you. Commissioner Smith, in terms of any time frame for you, how comfortable you would feel in terms of vacating or holding both positions?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I've actually already resigned from the legislature. That was actually...
That was fast.
It was concurrent with the swearing in, actually, 2 weeks ago. As far as doing this fairly quickly, Kenny Martinez knows that I served on a lot of committees. I was on 8 interim committees. which is a pretty full load. And it would give, if we could do it fairly quickly, it would give whoever we appoint, and if the governor selects that person, enough time to actually be effective and go to some of those committee hearings.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments in terms of a time frame? Commissioner Hart-Stebbins?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think in the past, we have put out a press release that Bernalillo County is looking for applicants. I don't know if we need to have a motion to do that, or we just direct you to do that, put a deadline. Again, I think we have always tended to try and do this as quickly as possible so that those residents of Representative, now Commissioner Smith's district, are not unrepresented for a period of time. So I don't know if we need to set that schedule, but I think what I would recommend, what we've done in the past, is as soon as possible, put out a press release, give applicants 7 or 10 days, and then commissioners get those letters of interest, resumes, and we have an opportunity to interview people if we so choose. And then I don't know when the commission would be comfortable actually holding a vote, but our next meeting is on the 24th. I don't know whether commissioners feel that gives everybody enough time.
So maybe the first meeting in May?
Mr. Vice Chair, Commissioner Stebbins, so we will issue a press release right away, and that gives applicants about 2 weeks. And we were planning on bringing it in front of you during the April 24th commission meeting, if that works for you all.
I think that works as long as commissioners get the resumes, as long as the deadline gives commissioners at least a day or two to review the resumes and give us an opportunity to schedule interviews if necessary. We've done this several times. I don't know who chooses to interview and who doesn't, but at least give us that a little bit of time to do that before the vote on the 24th.
Considering that, Commissioner Hart-Stebbins, I would think maybe 7 days would be in terms of, and then that gives us a few days at the end for interviews once we know who they are.
So, Mr.
Yes,
Chair, would that mean we
Smith.
would vote on the 24th then for the person? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. And like anything, it's subject to change if we decide or feel that, nothing's happened. So I think that's really good feedback. Thank you all very much. So we're on to item 14 now, the announcement of the next commission meeting. Tuesday, April 24th, 2018, administrative meeting at 5 p.m. here in the Vincent E. Griego Chambers. Everyone, thank you all. Have a great night. Thanks for attending. Meeting's adjourned.